Hey, good morning once again. It is 11:37. I don't know if she remembers, but Leslee Miller has been on with me in the past. Well, I don't know if we talked on the radio or not, but I know her because she did some wine stuff for us at a luncheon that I was a part of. Leslee, good morning. How are you?
Hi, how are you? And of course I remember.
You don't remember. I don't expect you to. It was several years ago. It was a luncheon group of men. It was called Tours and Taste, an Epicurean Society, and you were explaining some things about the wines that were being served.
Yes, absolutely. I remember that event.
I mentioned.
How could I
forget? I know you do so many of these, though, because as I mentioned before you came on, you have a black belt in wine. You are a certified sommelier. Am I saying that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
And also, along with the Minnesota Grape Growers Association, you're on here to support Minnesota's Summer Wine Festival. Now, how many, is this the first one? Is this an inaugural event?
This is an inaugural event, yes. The location has changed, though, of course, from what it was in the past. And so we are getting to be a little bit bigger, so we need a little bit more space each year.
All right. For people who have an interest in wines, tasting some wines, and also a chance to learn some things about wines. It's coming up this Saturday. It's in the middle of the day from noon until 5. The shop's at West End. And this isn't some go in there and slug them back sort of a thing. This is a chance to learn. Well, because people think, I spent $45 for this. If you buy the tickets now, by the way, at mngrapes.org, you can get $5 off. But it's a chance to go in and learn some things about wine, taste some various wines, and talk to me a little bit about the wines that will be sampled.
Well, I got to tell you, John, this is such a cool event because the Minnesota Grape Growers Association works really hard to promote fantastic education, but also events like this where people can come and sample wines. Not only will there be wineries available, but cideries as well. And so that's the other really cool part about this, as the cider sector definitely grows here in the state of Minnesota. We'll have 17 wineries and cideries available for you to taste through. Of course, all local Minnesota wineries and cideries. And then also 4 food vendors as well this year. So you'll have a little bit of food, a little bit of wine and cider to sample, some live music also. So we have live music going on the entire event. And then, as you said, if you go to mngrapes.org today, you can buy the tickets for $40 at that $5 discount. What I love, I think, about this most is that this is also an opportunity for you to be able to purchase up to 6 bottles directly on site. So normally that's not available to folks. You can purchase 6 bottles. You can take them home directly from the event. So if you're in love with a wine or a cider that you tasted that day, then you can just go home with it and keep drinking all those really good things at night.
Yeah, or for the next several nights. Here's a question, though. If you ran into somebody on the street who said, I had Minnesota wines years ago, and I just, it wasn't me. They weren't very good or whatever. This has all changed dramatically here in recent years, hasn't it, Leslee?
It really has. We can thank, obviously, the U of M for really helping promote lots of activities and wonderful things. But the really cool part about this year also is that we have a new grape on the spectrum.
A new grape?
A new grape. Yes, we introduced a new grape in 2016 here. The beginning of April, we had talked about our new grape, Itasca. Now, most of the wines won't be available to try until 2017. But this is a fantastic topic, I think, to talk about with a lot of these farmers because everybody's so excited about the new grape.
Well, okay, then here's my question. If I'm a person who drinks, a variety of wines, depending on oftentimes what I'm eating, but also, what temperatures are outside and things like that. In the wintertime, I'm probably more to some sort of a bold red like a Cabernet. But in the summertime, something refreshing, like a Pinot Grigio or something of that nature, Leslee. But what would Itasca grape be blended to be? I mean, what would it turn into ideally?
So the Itasca grape is actually going to be a white grape. Now, when we release this, I don't know if you've had, John, in the last couple of years, we have the grape La Crescent.
Yeah.
which was actually, we actually created that in 2002. And it's been very, very popular. I sit on the panel that judges the cold climate competition, and we always give loads of awards to folks who make the La Crescent grape. Now, the La Crescent is more of that sort of German Alsatian style. White grape, of course, dry, but you also just get these great fruit-forward melon notes to this. Now, the new grape, Itasca, will be used to make a dry white wine. Now, some of the sugar levels can be a little bit higher, but also lower acidity here. But I think we'll also come across with some really beautiful balance. And so if folks did really, or if you've, kind of gained a respect for that La Crescent grape, I think that this Itasca will be kind of your new BFF wine.
I've never thought of a wine in that regard, Leslee. Leslee Miller, my guest. We're talking about this Minnesota Summer Wine Festival, which is this Saturday from noon until 5. It's at the Shops at West End in St. Louis Park. 17 Minnesota wineries and cideries and all. We'll touch on cider here in just a moment. But first, about these wineries, because a lot of wineries in Minnesota will use grapes that they're buying, frankly, from other places as well, right, to sort of supplement what they're doing.
Yes, they absolutely are. You'll go to many wineries and you'll see that they will have a California version of, Cabernet, Zinfandel, Syrah. My gosh, I've seen pretty much it all. But what I love about going to Minnesota wineries, and I feel like this is sort of our job. When we go out there to go visit these wineries, it's important to ask, the growers more about what we grow here in our own backyard. Because I think a lot of times people will say, oh, I just want a cab, or, I want that bold red, and that bold red to me is Cabernet. Well, we don't grow that here and make that here. Yes, you can have the California version, but I'm always really, just begging Minnesota wineries to make what we grow here. We have Frontenac, we have Marquette, which have both been obviously very, very successful. And I think from that end of it, too, ask for a little bit more information as to what are these grapes supposed to taste like? Because they won't taste like Chardonnay or,
Are these wines, you mentioned the Frontenac, which has been around for a number of years, I do believe, these things. As these vines mature, do the wines that they produce, the grapes that they produce, become better?
Absolutely. And then also note that with more experience over time, because really, this is such a young, community and overall experience side to what we're really creating here in Minnesota, that note that the wineries that have been making these wines for years, you gain experience, and with that comes better wine as well. And of course, a little bit of age on the vine as well makes them more mature, lots of really great, more depth-ridden notes.
Yeah. Indeed. So a lot to consider there. So what else? You mentioned there's going to be some food on hand. I'm guessing some food vendors, restaurants or food trucks on site. How's that going to work out?
Kind of a little bit of both here. We have the La Enchilada food truck. We also have Olive on Tap, Grandma's Gourmets, and Blue Fox Indian Grill. If you've been to the West End, and you probably are familiar with the Blue Fox Indian Grill, they're located there within the West End shops. Just a little something that you can snack on. I've really loved Grandma's Gourmets. Actually, they make some really cool different jarred ideas, so you can have some mushrooms or other things that you can also take home with you. So fun stuff in the way of food, so that you don't get too tipsy while you're out there.
Well, yeah, we don't. As I said, this is why you're not slocking back 16-ounce glasses of vino here. You're tasting. This is a wine tasting event, a chance to taste some of this. Now, I bet some of these wines we probably will see in competitions at the state fair as well, right?
Yeah, the state fair. And then, of course, many of these guys also enter their goods in the cold climate competition, which is coming up here in August as well. And that's where we see a lot of our Minnesota wineries. Man, I got to say, we taste through 200 to 300 wines there in that one day in August. And Minnesota always takes the cake. And I'm always so proud to represent our state as an international sommelier, just because I think we're doing such a great job with really working to understand our grapes a little bit more so.
All right. One other thing I want to ask you about, because I know, how do you pronounce the name of your company? Is it Amusée?
Amusée.
Yes. And do you still do, if people are interested in setting up with you, aside from the Minnesota Grape Growers Association, do you still do wine tastings and things for private parties and such?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Amusée is now 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I literally perform events and tastings across the nation. I also take people on international trips now. So that's kind of a new sector. We leave next week for France, and so I'll be taking a group of people up the Rhone River. But absolutely, I perform loads and loads of in-home events, also bring a number of different chefs with me, and so we have a fantastic catering arm as well. So
they can ask you about all that at the 2016 Summer Wine Festival this Saturday, noon to 5. The shops at West End in St. Louis Park. 17 wineries and cideries, food vendors. Tickets right now are $40, but if you get to the door and you don't have one, you'll pay $45. You can go to mngrapes.org to learn more. So, hey, thank you very much, Leslee. I hope wish you good success with the event this year.
Thank you so much for having me on.
We'll talk to you again.
All right. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.